controlling, says that he has no class. He doesn't listen, he just scratches his ass.
Hey, all right. Like that.
Sometimes it itches. What do you do?
Our new couples therapy open. What do you think?
Love it.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. I got a letter around here somewhere. Here we are. Don't forget, we got your sold-out Beartooth tickets coming up before 9 o'clock. But right now, we have somebody who needs our advice. That's what this person says. Hey, guys, I need advice. Please don't say my name. I will say, if your husband is listening, he's going to know it's you just by the story. You know what I mean?
Right.
She says, I'm a 38-year-old woman. My husband is 44. We've only been married for about 3 years. We have a good life. We get along really well. We haven't had any major problems to speak of until now. My boyfriend's
husband, you mean?
Or my husband.
Oops.
Yeah. My husband's 22-year-old son moved back in with us about 2 months ago. He was fired from his delivery job after getting a D.U.I. and is supposedly trying to get his life together. But this kid is so difficult to live with. He's a slob. He expects everything and gives nothing in return, and as far as I can tell, he's too busy playing video games to look for a job. I'm beginning to resent the situation, but my husband told me he wants to give his son a little breathing space, and he's not willing to have a serious conversation with his son about setting a timeline for him to get a job and get out. I do like his son. We've always had a decent relationship. But now I'm cleaning up after this adult kid unless I want to live in clutter and filth. I'm really unhappy with the situation. What do I do? Anonymous in Central Ohio.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's a toughie. Because, man, your kids get away with way more than you should let them get away
and it's
with,
not
right?
your child. So obviously you've got some distance there. And the fact that you're doing the cleaning. I do have maybe an unconventional way to deal with this because it's not a problem in your marriage yet.
Right.
Here's what I'm going to say. Encourage this kid to date because no self-respecting 22-year-old wants to be unemployed living at his parents' house. So if he finds somebody to date, that is the great motivator. Love is the great motivator. This kid sounds unmotivated. Maybe he's bummed out. Maybe he's a little depressed. If he finds somebody that he's really interested in, I am telling you it will motivate this kid to get a job and get out of your house.
My only concern here is that you're 22 years old, sitting in your dad's basement playing video games with no job. Who's going to want to date you?
That's the dream. That is the dream.
Yeah, you got to find that certain someone, who's willing to sort of be in this place in your life with you short term, because I do think this guy will instantly start to get his crap together if he finds somebody that he wants to be with.
Tell him he can live Lewis's dream. Find himself a 75-year-old rich woman.
That would be awesome. Here's the thing, though, and here's my take as this kind of hits a little. I think you have to. Well, here's where kids are going. I'm trying to word this without.
You owe me for not getting to the point.
I know.
Go on.
I know. I just tallied it up in my head. I think kids now don't understand the importance of the entire package. And when I say the entire package, there comes a point in time in your life where you can still do what you want, but you have to do what you want on certain terms and less of doing what you want your own way until you get to we'll put it in a sports analogy. Once you get drafted by a team and you have some success behind you, you can be who you want to be. You can do what you want to do. But until you're a proven commodity, you got to play the game. And I think kids these days don't necessarily want to play the game. And they don't understand that stop looking for your current job. Look for what you're going to do down the road, especially when you're at this age. I'm not talking about when you're 15 or 16 or whatever, but when you're at that age where you're coming out of college and the next step is the real world, you have to make yourself enticable to someone other than yourself. And that means, the haircut. That means taking some care about how you dress and
Not
how you
taking
and present yourself.
Not taking your parent on an interview.
Exactly. Not taking your parent on an interview. And not, your goal should be, and I understand the financial strain in today's world, but your goal should be to get out of your parents' basement. Or if you are living in your parents' basement, at least pay some rent and get a real job. Work towards a real job. And they don't have to be done all at once, but find some kind of,
Well, see, you're speaking as like a father figure, and the father in this case is not willing to speak to his son.
But where I feel for him is sometimes it doesn't listen. They don't listen. They do what they want anyway.
Okay.
Like, you need to cut your hair and stop looking like you have a petrified fear of water and haven't showered in a month.
What'd she say? Okay, he's been there 2 months.
What do you think, Vic?
Yeah, this is a problem, and it's eventually going to ruin your marriage if something doesn't get done about it. But you need to sit down with your husband and say, look, if you don't want to make him get out and make him find a job, that's fine. But you need to make him clean up after himself, do some chores around here, not expect me to be his caretaker.
Right.
That's fine. He wants to give him some space. Okay. And he's not ready to have this conversation about a timeline, but you could certainly not let him take advantage of your wife.
I like that.
That's wrong.
That is true.
He's not her responsibility. He's 22 years old. Clean up your room and wash your ass, dude. I mean, seriously.
Jared's right. I mean, you got to be careful about letting him date, especially while you're living at home. You don't want the whores moving in, messing it up even more.
Man, you never know who he might end up with.
No, I think Dad needs to get involved, but a lot of times that stuff goes in one ear and out the other. I mean, I know it. Come on, any of us when we were 20, whatever, didn't listen to everything, but you had a plan. I mean, again, I won't say I had a good plan, but I had a plan.
But the dad is an enabler. You baby him and they'll stay babies. That's how that works, man. I wouldn't have ever been able to stay home that long and not pay a bill at least and clean up after myself.
You want your kids to be safe, but you also, and I'm only speaking for myself, you almost want something bad to happen to them so they can figure out how to adjust and figure out how to learn and grow from it.
That's what we were talking about yesterday. How does somebody, a young person, learn how to succeed if they never fail?
Right.
I think that
you need to fail one day.
There is a way. This is going to sound really harsh, and I'm saying it. Okay. How to communicate to a 22-year-old that the way you're behaving is the way a loser behaves without saying that they're a loser. Because they're not a loser. It's been 2 months. That's not a great deal of time, especially right now when you're looking, if he is looking for a job. 2 months is not a great amount of time.
Right.
But you're not cleaning up after yourself. You're playing video games all day. That's fine if you use video games as a reward for a day of hard work. I mean, that's one thing. When you're doing it all day long, you're behaving the way an unsuccessful human being behaves. So, how do you communicate that to this kid without saying you're being a loser, you're being unsuccessful? To say, have a little pride in yourself. You're a smart guy. You had a job, but you were drinking and driving and lost your job. So, let's regroup and figure out how to continue your road to success. How do you communicate that to them? And I'm saying maybe you can't, but maybe a really cute new girlfriend could.
You know what you do? You play them the Rocky Balboa speech because it's the greatest speech ever. I'm kidding. Because sometimes your kid needs to hear, sometimes your kid needs to hear the harsh truth.
Let me tell you something that I experienced as a young adult. I dropped out of Ohio State after my freshman year. I dropped out for a year. I ended up going back and finishing my degree. But during that year that I dropped out, I worked at a video store, Video Movies Unlimited. Loved the job, etc. But I'm working at a video store for minimum wage, right? I dropped out of college. I stumbled upon a letter that my younger sister had written to her boyfriend, like a note that was just kind of a long note. And I read it because I'm nosy like that. And in the middle of this note, it said something like, I really want to have focus and finish college because I don't want to be like Kelly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And although I love my sister and she loves me, that hit so deep and hurt me so much in a way that made me take account of my life a little bit and made me think, okay, well, my younger sister thinks I'm a loser. What am I doing here? Because I don't want to be a loser, and I didn't realize, and not that working in a video store is being a loser, but that's how she viewed me dropping out of college.
Dropping out of college, what she's talking about.
I was kind of aimless, and she was right. I was aimless, and I was working for minimum wage, and I didn't have any goals for my life. And that was absolutely true. But it was that little note that I stumbled upon that led me to realize it and fix it for myself.
I think, and here's the other thing, too. With this letter, you can't rush this into happening. Everything happens when it's supposed to. I had circumstances in my life that I was pissed off at my parents because the circumstances happened. But if I look back now, I go, if that wouldn't have happened, I would not have been as motivated as I became to take care of me. Because you can't coddle's the wrong word, but you can't provide everything. And if you are in that situation and you're lucky enough to be able to live with your parents and just stockpile money and not pay bills, that's great. But you still have to play the game. We live in a world that is controlled by old men, whether you like it or not. And you have to play the game.
So what would you say for this woman to do, though? She's asking for advice. What to do with this stepson?
Talk to the kid. Talk to the husband.
Talk to the husband.
The husband
needs to tell. Yeah, he needs to tell him, look, you don't have to move out tomorrow. Understand, you're probably depressed. You got a DUI. Everything seems like it sucks right now, but it's not going to get fixed by you sitting around playing video games all day and making no plan and doing nothing except messing up the house and expecting your stepmother to clean up after you. If you do that every day, you'll still be here doing this in 10 years.
Right.
So you need to stop playing video games all day, clean up after yourself, and start making some sort of plan and figuring out what you're going to do. You have to make progress.
It's like Rocky Balboa said, nothing hits harder than life. It'll beat you down and keep going. It's not about how hard you're hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
That's it.
And how much you can take and keep moving forward. Hence the turtle that I have tattooed on my arm.
All right. Well, I hope this helped. But yeah, you're right. He is a problem, the kid, but your husband's a problem. So he needs to be a father, and I don't tell you how to raise him, but you need to do something, or nothing's going. It's just your marriage will be in trouble.
We need to start a money jar for all the people who have demanded money for everything we said, one of us or another of us, in this conversation.